Have you all ever heard of Dry Diggins? How about Hangtown? Better yet, Placerville. Well, it's located in Dorado County, in the great state of California. Back in the day, 100 plus years ago, men and women, young and old, either by horse, ox, wagon, crossed the plains to the west in search of gold, in search of farming, a better life. And in this video, I will go to Smith Flat, California, and explore their cemetery. The old mining town is rich in history, and I couldn't resist the opportunity to document it. Join me on this episode of Grave Time. And by the looks of my watch, it's officially grave time. The curiosity to explore the Smith Flat Cemetery goes all the way back almost 4 years ago in 2022, while I was heading up to Pollock Pines, California to visit the Sportsman's Hall, the former location of one of the Pony Express stage stops. On the way back, heading westbound on United States Highway 50, on the right-hand side before you enter Placerville, there's a sign on top of the hill that welcomes you to the town. And as I got further past the sign, in the brush, I could see a tombstone sticking out. And I was like, oh wow, a cemetery. I gotta check that out someday. Moving forward to New Year's Day 2025, on the way to Placerville, I went ahead and drove around, saw some really cool mid-century modern hotels with really cool neon signs, and I saw a road up ahead that went over the freeway, over US 50. So I took that road, and that brought me to Smith Flat. There I stopped and checked out the local historical hall, even though it was closed. Took some pictures because it's also part of the original pathway of the Lincoln Highway. I switched back, and as I got closer to the way that I came, I saw a road that said Cemetery Road. So I began to drive down this road until it dead end, and to my left was the Smith Flat Cemetery. Then on Saturday, April 5th, 2025, I finally had the opportunity to explore the cemetery. And so that's what this footage you're about to see. Now, I just did this on a whim. I really didn't know anyone that was there except one person, and this is what came of that exploration. For the record, this video is going to be very spontaneous, as was my trip to the Smith Flat Cemetery. I did take pictures, I did film some video, but in hindsight, I only knew of one person buried in the cemetery because I did research about them. Now, moving forward, I have done some more research about the people in the cemetery with some newspaper articles about who they were and how they died, but not everyone's grave was found because I didn't know about these people ahead of time. But I will mention it in this video so it's more complete. This particular section of the cemetery is that of the Carpenter family, and that's Carpenter spelled with a D, not a T. This is a obelisk here, which is the grave marker of William and Ellen Carpenter. Now, to be more respectful, I should say it like this. This is the grave of Honorable Judge William Pitt Carpenter, who came to Smith Flat in 1854 from Akron, Ohio. Now, there's a newspaper article that I will post here, and if you want to go ahead and pause the video and read it yourself, you can. It's extremely hard to read, so I had to really piece it together the best I can. But the newspaper article is from 1916, out of the El Dorado Republican newspaper, and is basically talking about Mr. Carpenter owning a mine in the deep blue channel of the Flat for a number of years. This is the same area that he passed away in February 16th of 1916 at age 85. He was the Justice of Peace of Placerville, had a county seat for 32 years, and being interested in mining matters, generally kept an accurate record of all the diamonds found in El Dorado County. But this particular newspaper article talks about all the diamonds that were found while mining in Smith Flat. Boy, oh boy, if things can't get any more confusing, here we go. This is the grave of Albert Burt Carpenter. Now, what's interesting is, according to findgrave.com's website, there are two people with that name who both lived two separate lives. Now, I don't know if this grave is connected to the one I'm about ready to tell you the story of, but what the hell, let's do it anyway. Now, I believe that Albert Burt Carpenter was a miner, much like his father, the Honorable Judge William Pitt Carpenter. And he was in possession of two white stones, one being 1/7/8 carat and one canary color stone of 5/8 carat in 1896. He later sold these items to a man from Boston. Albert was also a Freemason, as you can see. It has the Mason logo on his grave marker. This is the grave of W.A. Lewis, native to Sweden and was a sailor. Gave up the sea life for mining and came to California in 1852 to participate in the gold rush. At the time of his death in 1906, he was single, no known family, but well liked in the community. The old pioneer was 79 years old of age. In front of me here is the Jones family plot, but to the right, which I didn't film, is the Welch family plot. The upright tombstone is that of Maurice Welch, and the flathead stone that is on the ground is that of Florence Flora Decker Welch. She was the main reason why I wanted to explore the cemetery and really see her grave. Unfortunately, I'll have to go back another time and take a picture of it, but what got me interested in wanting to visit her gravesite and pay my respects is because she had a love for history and historical preservation. And so there's a newspaper article about her passing that was from 1932, and I'll have the clipping here for you to see. It also states here that Mrs. Welch was a native of Wisconsin and a California pioneer of 1867. Of late years, she had spent her time collecting a museum of pioneer and other interesting relics. It would be interesting to know, I should have done the research beforehand, but I didn't think of it until now. It would have been cool to contact the Placerville Historical Society to find out if they still have any of these pioneer relics that were saved and collected by Mrs. Welch. This is the Lyon family plot, and I'm here to visit the grave of Joseph Lyon. Beside him is his wife Lucy. What's interesting is Joseph has two tombstones, one provided by his family, the other one provided by the United States Army for time served in the American Civil War. Joseph was enlisted in the Union Army with Company D of the 2nd Iowa Voluntary Infantry Regiment, fought in the Battle of Shiloh and part of the Vicksburg Campaign. The Union Army won both of those battles, by the way. Take that, Confederacy. Joseph was a native of Iowa and unfortunately passed away at age 66 when he was killed by a runaway accident. Doesn't really specify what the runaway accident was, but if you'd like to go ahead and check it out, here's a newspaper clipping from the Weekly Nugget. There are many people buried in the Smith Flat Cemetery who no longer have a grave marker, or perhaps maybe never had one, but there's documentation of them being buried in the cemetery due to findagrave.com, as well as newspaper articles like this one from 1907. Peter Asher, the 12-year-old son of Mrs. Asher of Smith Flat, lies dead at his home at the place as a result of a runaway accident which occurred on the White Rock grade yesterday afternoon. Young Asher and a companion named Henry Berry started out from Smith Flat yesterday morning to drive to the Martin residence in the direction of Mosquito. And when descending the steep White Rock grade, the defected brake gave away and the horse plunged madly down the road. Berry, realizing the seriousness of the situation, jumped from the rig, but in doing so was thrown to the ground with such force that his leg was broken and he was otherwise severely bruised. Asher remained with the rig, but shortly afterwards, in around a turn, he too was thrown to the ground. His body struck directly in the path of the wagon, and before he could save himself, the heavy wheel had passed over his chest. The lad, however, not thinking he was injured, plunged to the reins of following the rig, managed to regain his position on the seat. The horse were brought to the stop, and Asher started back up the road in search of Berry, whom he found laying in the road. Berry was put in the wagon and taken to Morton home, and medical aid was immediately summoned. Dr. Reckers responded to the call, but in the meantime, young Asher had been seized with violent coughing spells, and an examination by the physical disclosed the fact that the boy's chest had been terribly crushed. His recovery was hopeless, and shortly before midnight he passed away. I really wish I knew about the people buried in the Smith Flat Cemetery beforehand. That way I could spend more time filming specific graves, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. And when you just want to do things spontaneous and just explore, and you document it while you go, that's the product of what you see here. So, in closing, I want to say thank you so much for watching this episode of Grave Time, visiting the Smith Flat Cemetery located in El Dorado County. Please join me for another Grave Time adventure in the near future. And by doing that, you can subscribe to my channel and also hit that notification bell so you can be in the loop of the next Grave Time adventure. Until next time, God bless you and have a wonderful day. Bye.